I have 18 native snakes in my collection I use for various presentations, of which the rarest and the most difficult to keep alive is the scarlet snake. This shy, primitive snake lives underground where it only eats the eggs of other snakes and lizards. Parasitic mimics are common in the animal kingdom, although it might be wrong to call it a parasite or even a mimic. It's a snake in its own right. I was surprised to find one for sale at a show. Here's the conversation I had with the seller.
Questions? That's a scarlet snake. Let me take it out for you. Very similar to the scarlet king snake, but different.
They're native to this state as
They
well.
also are, yes. This one's kind of on the large side, believe it or not.
What are you feeding him?
Well, my collector in Florida actually collects them and holds them for a while and gets them feeding on mice for the most part. So he was either working on pinkies or pinky parts for this one.
So I was sold a snake that was not yet eating in captivity. And if anyone but me had bought it, that snake would no longer be alive. Here's a photo I took of my little friend diving into a chicken egg and drinking the yolk for a solid 6 or 7 minutes, after which his body was a lot thicker. I had been told what you do is keep them in deep mulch with no water to make them thirsty. Then crack a chicken egg, pour out the white, and serve them the yolk on the half shell. My little friend has taught me this is only the tip of the difficult iceberg of their care. First, do not keep any animal without a source of drinking water. It will dehydrate probably when you least expect it. That's the reason for piling up the mulch, to keep him hydrated. One thing many people have noticed is your snake may have a perfectly good water dish, but when you move him over to it, he starts drinking as if he didn't know it was there. I put my snake in his water bowl once a day just to make him look at it. If he takes a drink, that's fine. If not, he can sit there and hydrate through his skin. One thing I've realized is if they only eat the eggs of other reptiles, that's something that's available to them maybe 3 months out of the year. They must be eating something else, especially in the spring when they come out of hibernation, and in the fall when they're preparing for winter. Here's a snake I found on March 4th looking very emaciated. I found it 2 more times at the same spot. The 3rd time it was just a skeleton. So when mine was eating for 6 minutes straight, it was in the spring. I think this was a feast they wouldn't normally find this time of year, and he ate enough to get by for probably 3 weeks. So in the wild, I believe they come across snake and lizard eggs, which their pointed face is able to pierce through the leathery shell, and eat sporadically. Just because mine was so hungry that one time doesn't mean he's always like that. I've found 3 different ways to get him to eat, which I write down with different marks on my feeding chart. Now, I knew you can get a snake to drink water if it's dehydrated by holding it still. Even a black racer that never stops moving will drink automatically. I don't mean he realizes what it is and starts lapping like a dog. I mean his mouth starts moving instinctively on its own. So when I give him the egg yolk and he starts drinking it down for, let's say, 10 to 30 seconds, I consider that a meal. If he's not interested, he still gets some yolk on his face, and I can hold him up to see his mouth moving like you or I would lick our lips. Now, several ways have been suggested over the years to get them to eat solid food, such as dipping a cricket or mouse parts in egg yolk, which are things my friend doesn't recognize as food. I found some 5-lined skink eggs, which a small child stepped on right in front of me, and then he picked them up in his hand. They were no longer viable. When I'm giving my friend the egg yolk, he comes up for air and takes a deep breath every few seconds. It was easy to place both the embryo and the yolk in his mouth. I usually think of skinks as being black and blue, but their embryos are white. He wolfed it down, and that was his first 3 solid meals. On a scale where I consider a king snake a beginner snake and a black racer intermediate to difficult, a racer taken directly from the wild has a personality that goes against every aspect of captivity, but their wide variety of prey items and the parasites that come with them means they have to be medicated despite how stressed out they are. I would say the scarlet snake is difficult, but not impossible. Keeping a beaver would be impossible. On the other hand, I had doubts about posting my collection of rare species. A snake is not a dog. I keep him because I enjoy the challenge. See you at Repticon!